Alright, fellas, this is going to be my final prediction of the upcoming fight between Daniel Jacobs versus Luis Arias. It's going to be happening in the Barclays Center this Saturday. This is going to be the first fight promoted by Eddie Hearn. This is the Eddie Hearn card. Because as you know, Daniel Jacobs has recently signed with Eddie Hearn. And I believe Big Baby Miller has signed with Eddie Hearn as well. Now, Luis Arias is a undefeated prospect. I honestly don't know too much about him. I've seen some of his highlights. But the one thing I could take from Luis Arias is he's not a puncher. The guy has like 9 KOs. 9 KOs in about 20 professional fights. Luis Arias has been talking a lot of smack leading up to this fight. I mean, Daniel Jacobs has been his usual, he's very professional. Daniel Jacobs is a very likable guy. He's a cancer survivor. Always humble, very respectful. That's just the way he is. That's why I've always liked about Daniel Jacobs. And of course, he's from Brooklyn. Got to represent Brooklyn. But this Luis Arias guy has been talking a lot of smack. He's been saying that Daniel Jacobs is a runner. He's going to run. He's going to run. Well, maybe he has amnesia because prior, and the only reason he's saying that Daniel Jacobs is going to run is because when he fought Gennady Golovkin, he was using his foot movement and his lateral movement against Gennady Golovkin. So therefore, Luis Arias has labeled Daniel Jacobs a runner. Well, like I said, maybe he has amnesia because prior to using lateral movement, something that was a smart move to do against Gennady Golovkin, he's been knocking out guys left from right. In his last 10 fights, he's knocked out all the guys he's been in the ring with. Do you not remember when he destroyed, what's his name? Peter Quillen? And if you look at any of the guys he's fought in the past 10 fights, in his last 10 fights, he's knocked them all out. So, Daniel Jacobs is an aggressive fighter. He just used lateral movement against Gennady Golovkin because that's the best way to fight Gennady Golovkin because you can outbox Gennady Golovkin. If you look at the Gennady Golovkin fight, even though he was using lateral movement, it wasn't like he was doing a snooze fest like Huey Fury. He was actually exchanging and willing to exchange at times with Gennady Golovkin. There were several times in that match where he would stand toe-to-toe in exchange with Gennady Golovkin. And he was hitting Gennady Golovkin and snapping his head back with uppercuts and left hooks, specifically short left hooks. And that's why that fight was so close and many people thought he actually defeated Gennady Golovkin, Triple G. You know what I'm saying? So, he was willing to go toe-to-toe with Gennady Golovkin and guys like Peter Quillen. These guys are far bigger punchers than someone like Luis Arias. And they're far more experienced. I'm telling you right now, you're not going to see, I don't believe you're going to see the version of Daniel Jacobs that fought Gennady Golovkin against Luis Arias. Because again, Daniel Jacobs is a guy that changes his style depending on his opponent. He fought Gennady Golovkin using lateral movement and fighting him toe-to-toe at times, like doing basically an in-and-out ambush style against Gennady Golovkin because he had to do that because Gennady Golovkin is an aggressive guy and the worst thing you could do with Gennady Golovkin is stand right toe-to-toe with him. So even though I do think he could beat him on the inside, but that's what Daniel Jacobs chose to fight off the back foot and then at times go on the inside. Against Luis Arias, I'm telling you right now, he's not going to fight that way. He's probably going to be aggressive. So Luis Arias is delusional. I actually think that he's going to get brutally KO'd because if he thinks that Daniel Jacobs is going to run around the ring, he's delusional. Daniel Jacobs is going to be fighting in his hometown in Brooklyn. And whenever Daniel Jacobs fights in Brooklyn, he tends to knock his opponents the hell out. He tends to put them in comas. Luis Arias has never fought. He's not experienced. He's not experienced. I think this is a fight that's way too premature for him. Daniel Jacobs has been active and he's been actively fighting, really good competition. He's even called out guys like Jamal Charlo. Daniel Jacobs is a guy that I have a lot of respect for. He's never seemed to come across as a ducker. He's fought all the guys that you could put in front of him. So I think this is going to be a bad look for Luis Arias. I think he's gonna get hit with a really powerful right hand, and I think you're gonna see him get knocked out. Sorry if you hear the background noises. I live with other people. They don't know how to shut up, and yeah, I also live with dogs. But yeah, I think this is an easy fight for Daniel Jacobs. Luis Arias, like I said, he doesn't have a puncher. He's not a puncher. And I believe you're going to see the aggressive side of Daniel Jacobs against, what's his name? Luis Arias. And I believe you're going to kill him. Because a lot of times there's something called karma. And Luis Arias has been talking a lot of shit. He's been talking a lot of smack. But he doesn't have the knockout power to intimidate Daniel Jacobs. Gennady Golovkin had the power to intimidate Daniel Jacobs. And that's why he saw him moving around a bit. And he wasn't always fully, you know, committed to going on the inside against Gennady Golovkin. But my dude, Luis Arias, he doesn't have that type of intimidating knockout power. So Daniel Jacobs is going to show him no respect. And he's going to KO Luis Arias this weekend. And Luis Arias will then be humbled. He'll be humbled. And he'll probably go into hiding wherever he's from. And go back to wherever he's from. That's all I have to say, guys. Please subscribe and I'm out.